All right, so you might be tired of like competing with the crazy housing market, or you just want to buy a piece of land and build your dream home on it and make it exactly how you want to. You come to the right spot. I'm going to teach you how to buy a piece of vacant land and build a house on it. All right, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through step by step of how to find the vacant land, how to talk with the builder, how to communicate with them and get your house built on a vacant piece of land. Hey guys, my name is Brent Bowers. I've done over 280 parcels of land that I bought and sold. Some of them we have on note still that are actually paying us a monthly payment each month. I also buy houses and fix them, renovate them, and we flip them as well. So I wanna talk to you about one story of about a friend of mine bringing me a piece of raw vacant land, and we actually built a house on it ourselves. My buddy's name is Alfredo. He bought me a piece of land in the Black Forest of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Great area. This was a house that had actually burnt down, and now it was just a vacant raw piece of land with an existing septic system, a well, and electric running right to the power, and there was also a gas line running. So we had the vacant piece of land. We had it under contract for $30,000. We actually had it at a crazy massive discount as well. So my buddy Alfredo brought this piece of land with me, and we went into a joint venture where we basically partnered on buying the land together and building a house on this vacant raw land. So that's step number one, is finding the land in the area you want to build the house on. Second is, now let's run your due diligence. Let's get all the check work in. Like, my due diligence was figuring out what my setbacks would be. I knew that I had to be 25 feet off of each one of those property lines. It was 100 feet wide by 200 feet deep. So the deep part was no problem, but the wide part, the 100 feet wide, if we're 25 and 25, that is 50 feet. Now we can only build a house that's 50 feet wide. So that's one of the due diligence checks that you want to know. Number two is, like, what does the septic system look like? What does the sewer look like? You know, in Colorado, you need at least 1 acre of land to have a septic system legally. Well, this property already had the septic system, and it was only a half acre. It was only a half acre, but since it was already there, they grandfathered it in for us. Next, I want to talk about a title company. A title company, you want to use these guys to make sure there's no breaks in your chain of title. What does that mean? That's when it transfers from one seller to the next. You want to make sure that it says Bob and Mary Jones when they're selling that land, if that's how Bob and Mary Jones took ownership of the land. So I hope that makes sense. Like, if Bob and Mary Jones are selling me a piece of land, Mary Jones can't just do the deed and send it to Brent Bowers. It's got to be Bob and Mary Jones, a married couple, or however they took ownership of it. That's how they need to sell it. So that's one thing the title company does for you. Don't worry about understanding all the details of that. That's why you pay the title company. They're also making sure there's no liens or encumbrances, you know, IRS tax liens, back taxes, those type things. Like, there's mechanics liens, or the water company could put a lien on your property, and this actually helps to know all these things because the title company is going to get rid of all those. We're going to make sure it's all paid when you close on the property, and then give you a title insurance policy that if they missed anything, it's covered. All right, so the land's checked out. You know, you're actually getting the piece of land. I'm going to give you another free gift at the very end, but this is my due diligence checklist, and I kind of alluded to this already, but I'm going to give you a 16-item checklist that you want to check on every piece of land that you're buying, and it's really helping you to know what you could build on it. Is it accessible? These are just a couple of the things. I talked about the water company putting a lien on it. Sometimes water companies don't put a lien on your property, and you just have a crazy outstanding water bill, and you'll never be able to turn that water on unless you pay thousands and thousands of dollars. I would rather you know about this before you buy the land than after you buy the land, because if you know about it before, you can negotiate with the seller and have your seller help you pay for some of this stuff. But let's get into talking to builders now. At this point, you've got the land picked out, you know the setbacks, you know all the due diligence, the title companies running checks. Before you buy that land, I want you talking to builders and developers, mostly builders, because these are the guys, these are the general contractors, the home builders. They're going to give you an estimate of what it's going to cost to build your dream home that you're looking to build, or whatever. You might be looking to build a cabin or purchase a modular home. I want you going and talking to at least 3 home builders and seeing what it's going to cost as far as price per square foot. But don't forget to ask if that price includes foundation, or, you know, a crawl space, or are we putting in an actual basement, or is it going to be a slab on grade? Basically, a slab on grade is a piece of concrete that the house sits on, and you tie the house into it. So there's several things you need to understand. A lot of builders, a lot of home builders don't include the dirt work, the foundation work, or the utilities into that quote. So you need to know that you're pricing these things out. What's it going to cost to drill this well or hook into the water? My case on this property with Alfredo, I already had an existing well, but it burnt. So the top part was burnt, so I had to put a new plate, new electric. Luckily, the pump down below was still good because it was underground. Next, what's the septic system going to cost? Or is there an existing septic system? And our existing septic system, luckily we had one because it grandfathered us in because we need an acre of land in Colorado and we only had a half acre in this instance. But that septic system being there grandfathered us in, but we needed a bigger tank because we were putting a bigger house and things had changed a little bit. So we had to know that going in, and we got a price from the actual septic tank installer, the actual plumber that was installing that septic tank. Next, let's talk about electric. Is there electric at the lot line? Is there already a transformer, or is it underground? What's that going to cost to tie in? So these are all little hidden expenses that could sometimes accumulate up to $10, $20, $100,000 additional to your building project. So you need to know all these going in and ask the builder these questions because they might not tell you if you don't ask. All right, so you've talked to 3 contractors, 3 home builders. You've gotten a good understanding. You are much further than the average person at this point because most people have never built a house. So next you want to ask about, we need to have an agreement with the contractor. How long is it going to take to build this house? Are there any overages? If there are any overages, is that on you or the contractor? What if the contractor goes over that time frame when they project your house to be built? Are there any fines the contractor pays? What if they get it done beforehand? Do they get a bonus? All these things you want to have in your contractor agreement with the purchase of your house. And sometimes, I'll tell you, a lot of contractors don't like to talk about these agreements. They want you just to trust them and they can just have free reign. You want to make sure that you understand the whole process of this, and don't give them free reign because you'll start seeing multiple delays. And not that contractors are bad people. They're out there just building multiple houses and they're usually not in the office making sure all these things are happening. They're on job sites. So much can get away so easily. So I like to put constraints. That way the contractor knows what I am expecting of him or her. And then also I want to know what the contractor expects of me, like when they need to be paid. The draws, a draw is a schedule of when the contractor will receive payments. And I make sure that when they get a draw, sometimes it's 5 draws, sometimes it's 10 draws. I want to make sure they've gotten to that milestone. So if they're getting their first draw after the foundation is complete, ready to go, if there's no foundation there, if there's no concrete there, they're not getting their first draw. And we also need to know the time frame. It's very, you got to be very careful with time frames of foundations. You got to pour the concrete when it's not freezing outside. And then, for instance, at the end of a home build, if there's no electric, the painters can't come in and caulk the walls and paint the walls because it's too cold. So you got to make sure you're hitting the time frames and getting your gas for your heat or your electric for your heat installed at proper time frames too, because all these things can delay a project from 6 months to a year and a half. All right, so you've gotten the agreement. You're now time to build. So now we want to follow the chain of events. You want to see almost like a storyline or a calendar preview of when things need to happen. When the foundation needs to be done, when the concrete, when the walls go up, when the electric's getting put on site. That should be pretty quick. You should get that electric on site really quickly. Don't let the utilities come last. You want the gas line getting put on site, the septic system getting installed right away, because all these things can give you future delays. Like I talked about the heat being on or the electric being on for the heat. The water is very important to clean the house, and also you need all these things to be complete to get your certificate of occupancy or your CO, because the county inspector has to come through certain phases and look at the roof, look at the decks, and make sure everything is to code, to standard, and all done at a time frame. So it's not just a matter of can you build a house, it's also a matter of logistics and time frames and milestones. So there's a lot to buying a piece of land and building a house on it. So if you can get the land right and the house right, I'm not saying that this is going to go completely seamless, but hopefully my mistakes help you to succeed a little bit faster, because we didn't hit a lot of these milestones. We didn't have the gas. We poured a foundation during the winter time. We had a guy that just came in that built decks that was not licensed, and we had to rip out over $2,500 worth of wood and screws just because it wasn't built properly. We had to throw it right in the dumpster. So hopefully I can help you avoid those little things, the pitfalls that I made, and hopefully you find a good contractor. We actually had 2 contractors through this process. We had to fire the first one and then end up having to hire a second one. All right, as promised, I told you I was gonna give you my due diligence checklist. We use this every single time we purchase a piece of land, whether it be for, just to buy it and sell it quickly, or to buy it and then sell or finance to somebody, or to buy it and build a house on it, just like we're talking about here. So the link is below in the description, but before I give you that link, I want you to subscribe to this channel. I'm coming out with content 5 days a week. Hit that subscribe button. That's your payment today for this video, and I hope it saves you tens of thousands of dollars and gets your building done quickly on your vacant raw piece of land. As promised, the free gift is below in the description. It is thelandsharks.com/DD, as in due diligence. Maybe also I got one more free gift for you. So maybe you're looking for financing on the purchase of this land or even the construction on this house. I've got some friends over at Kogo Capital that I'd like to refer you to. These guys will help you get this deal done, help you buy the raw vacant land and help you build on it. And that's by going to thelandsharkscapital.com. That's thelandsharkscapital.com. There's a link below in the description as well. You can click on that, fill that in. One of their lending providers will call you and talk about your project that you're looking to do. Hey guys, if you want to see the exact project I'm talking about, click on the link below. You can see where we sold this thing on redfinrealtor.com or Zillow. This was the house we actually had dropped in here. This was a modular home example. We actually have another new build we're building from the ground up. We call that a stick-built home, but this is a modular home. It worked out well. It took us about a year and a half, but we made a great profit on it. So hope it helps you. And guys, as you well know, the real estate market is absolutely exploding. I've done over 280 land deals. We flip houses, we wholesale houses, and we have over 100 land notes paying us every single month from people buying land from us. If you're interested in a tried and true method to help you buy land at crazy discounts and sell the stuff in your sleep, head over to thelandsharks.com. That's thelandsharks.com. It's below in the description. Click on the link, schedule a call with my team. We'll see what your real estate goals are, and if we find that we're a great fit, I'd be honored to coach you.